So picture this, you're 19, world number 1, dominating the tennis world, and then bam, a psycho jumps out of the stands and stabs you in the back. Literally, 8 Grand Slams under her belt. She's fierce, young, and fun. In 1993, during a match in Hamburg, Germany, some guy jumps out of the crowd holding a 9-inch knife and attacks Monica right between her shoulder blades. The attacker, a delusional Steffi Graf superfan who wanted Graf back at number 1. And guess what? He never even went to prison, just got psychiatric treatment and walked free. Like, bro, watch the rankings, don't attack the players. Monica disappeared from the sport for over 2 years, and when she returned, she was never quite the same after that, and not just physically. I mean, how could she be? Her innocence was gone, so was tennis's. It was the moment the sport realized it wasn't untouchable, heartbreaking, terrifying, and honestly, it changed tennis forever. Alright, imagine watching a match, and suddenly the player starts double faulting like it's a contest, and you think, wow, they're off today. But nope. Turns out, some of these dudes were literally getting paid to lose. The year is 2007, and the match is between Nikolai Davydenko, a ranked number 4 in the world, and a lower ranked Argentine named Martin Arguello. Nothing unusual, right? Just a standard ATP match in Poland. But here's where it gets sketchy. A UK betting site, Betfair, starts noticing something weird. Massive bets. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars coming in on Davydenko to lose. Even after Davydenko wins the first set, the money keeps pouring in against him. That's not normal. Usually if someone wins set 1, their odds improve. But nope, the money said he was going to tank, and then he retires in the 3rd set with a supposed foot injury. Betfair freaks out and voids all bets, something they've literally never done before for a tennis match. They report it to the ATP. Boom. Full-scale investigation. The ATP pulls Davydenko's phone records, interrogates both players, and tries to follow the money trail. It turns into this months-long saga. But here's the twist. They couldn't prove anything. No smoking gun, no text saying, yo bro, tank the 3rd set. So eventually, both players are cleared. But it was a wake-up call. Suddenly, tennis had to admit what it didn't want to. That match fixing wasn't just a lower-level problem, that gambling syndicates were targeting real top-level pros, and that money talks even when a player is top 5 in the world. It's a total betrayal of the sport. And yeah, some got caught, but let's be real, it's sad. Because these aren't millionaire stars, they're journeymen trying to pay rent. But the sport's credibility took a major hit. Tennis is individual, unregulated at the lower levels, and super easy to manipulate subtly. One weird double fault, a single missed volley, not enough to look suspicious, but enough to swing a bet. And that's what makes match fixing so dangerous. It's like the perfect crime. Until someone bets $1 million on a random Polish match and ruins the whole con. Now this one hit hard. Simona Halep banned for 4 years after testing positive for some sketchy blood-boosting drug. She's one of the last people you'd expect to get busted for doping. Sweet, hard-working, humble, always the underdog you root for. Then in 2022, she tests positive for roxadustat, a drug that boosts red blood cell production, basically gives your endurance a boost. The fallout, a massive 4-year ban. 4 years, that's a career ender. Halep says it was accidental. Contaminated supplements, and she's fighting tooth and nail to clear her name. She's appealed, hired lawyers, posted heartfelt Instagram essays. Fans are torn, and it sucks. But until something changes, she's sidelined, and fans are left with that awful what-if feeling. Maria Sharapova was the closest tennis ever got to a Bond girl. Glamorous, icy cool, ridiculously talented. Sponsors loved her. Fans idolized her. An absolute icon gets banned in 2016 for using something called meldonium. Sounds like a Harry Potter potion, but it's actually a heart medication that got banned that January, and she missed the memo. Meldonium delays fatigue by giving you more oxygen so your muscles last longer, and improves recovery as it helps clear lactic acid faster. Maria owned it, went public before anyone else could leak it, but she still got 15 months. But it was like tennis's version of a celebrity mugshot moment. Her image, not quite the same after that. The whole thing felt like watching a queen fall off her throne in slow motion. The reaction was nuclear. Some fans forgave her, others didn't. Her career post-ban was never the same. Less wins, less sponsorships, and a slow fade from tennis's top tier. Okay, this one isn't funny at all. Bob Hewitt was a Grand Slam legend in the 60s and 70s. With over 15 titles in doubles, he was inducted in the Tennis Hall of Fame in 1992. On paper, a champion; in reality, a predator hiding in plain sight. Years later, women started coming forward with horrifying stories. He had sexually abused them as teenagers when he was their coach. Just typing that makes me sick. These were kids who trusted him, and he used his position to harm them. At least 6 women have gone on record in media or court. And these weren't just accusations. He was convicted, found guilty of rape and sexual assault, sentenced to 6 years in prison. The damage he did can't be undone. It's a reminder that sports need real accountability, not just trophies and headlines. Some estimates and sources say many more victims may never have come forward publicly due to trauma, fear, or lack of evidence from decades ago. He took away my love of tennis, and I want it back, were the words of a survivor. It shattered the image of what a tennis coach was supposed to be. Parents entrust their kids to these people, and Hewitt used that trust to exploit them. No jokes here, just disgust. One of tennis's darkest chapters, hands down. So in 2022, Wimbledon straight up told Russian and Belarusian players, yeah, y'all can't come this year. It was their response to the invasion of Ukraine. Boom. Outside. Medvedev, gone. Sabalenka, see ya. Why did Wimbledon do it? The All England club said they didn't want the Russian regime to benefit from the success of their athletes. They were afraid that if Medvedev won the title, it would be used as propaganda by Putin. ATP and WTA were pissed. They clapped back like, fine, no ranking points for anyone. So you win Wimbledon and it counts for nothing in the rankings. Imagine training your whole life, winning the most iconic tournament ever, and getting 0 ranking credit. Some players agreed with the ban, saying athletes couldn't be neutral during war. But others, including Rafael Nadal, disagreed. It's unfair. It's not their fault. And for players like Medvedev and Sabalenka, it was devastating. They were playing some of the best tennis of their careers and were cut out of the most iconic tournament in the world. Sabalenka later admitted she spent that summer in emotional turmoil, unsure if she'd ever be allowed back. It turned into this weird alternate universe Grand Slam where everything looked the same, except none of it mattered in the rankings. The 2022 tournament remains a symbol of sport versus politics, and how no matter how old or prestigious a tournament is, the world will force you to take a side. Good intentions, messy execution. Fans were split. Players were frustrated. Politics met tennis, and nobody really won. Alright, COVID tennis was wild. There were bubbles, masks, nose swabs every 3 minutes. And then you had Benoit Paire, the most chaotic man in tennis. He tested positive like 5 times and somehow still played. Other players were like, what the actual fuck? It was peak pandemic confusion. The rules made no sense. Players were locked in rooms with no fresh air while others got special treatment. Benoit basically turned into tennis's pandemic jester. You couldn't write this stuff. Here's where it gets legendary. In March 2021, Benoit loses early in the Argentina Open and spits on the court, saying the match was utterly useless. Then, in the post-match press, frankly, I don't care. Winning or losing right now, it's the same. Tennis has become disgusting. Yes, he called tennis disgusting. At some events, it genuinely looked like he had stopped trying. Was he being real about his burnout and depression, or just disrespecting the game? Probably both. COVID had clearly broken him. At one point he tweeted, "Hello, my name is Benoit Paire, and I've tested positive for COVID for the 250th time." The system in his eyes was broken. And to be honest, he wasn't entirely wrong. It's easy to laugh at Paire, but there was something real beneath the jokes. COVID didn't just disrupt his career, it crushed his spirit, and he wasn't alone. Okay, final boss moment. Novak Djokovic shows up in Australia in 2022, unvaccinated. Drama immediately explodes. This wasn't just tennis. It was a full-on political drama. Imagine being the reigning Australian Open champion, having won the title 9 times, and being one win away from breaking the all-time Grand Slam record, only to end up detained by border officials, locked in a hotel room, and ultimately deported. Sounds like a bad movie, right? Well, for Novak Djokovic, this actually happened in January 2022. He gets detained at the airport, like actual immigration lockup vibes. Tennis top dog was stuck filling out visa forms and arguing with border agents. Australia had some of the strictest border controls on the planet. At the time, all visitors had to be fully vaccinated. No exceptions, no, I just don't feel like it. But Novak, he was very publicly unvaccinated and very vocal about it. He believed in personal choice and had his reasons. Whether you agree or not, that was his stance. So how was he planning to play the 2022 Australian Open? A medical exemption. Yeah, here's where it gets spicy. Novak applied for and was granted a medical exemption by Tennis Australia and a Victorian state panel, supposedly because he had recovered from COVID in December 2021. He boards a flight, touches down in Melbourne, thinks he's good to go, but then Australian Border Force says nope. They cancel his visa on the spot. Why? Because federal rules greater than state exemptions. He's detained overnight at the airport, literally being interrogated, held without his phone, and then sent to a hotel used to house refugees and immigration detainees. People weren't just protesting about Novak. They were protesting how refugees in that hotel had been stuck there for years. Novak accidentally shined a global spotlight on that issue too. Inside, he's locked in. No training, no fresh air, no gluten-free meals. Yes, really, he's super strict with food. Djokovic's team appeals the visa cancellation in court. And guess what? He wins. The judge reinstates his visa and says he wasn't given enough time to consult lawyers or his team. Djokovic starts training at Melbourne Park. The fans go wild. But then Australia's Immigration Minister Alex Hawke steps in like a movie villain and says, "Yeah, no, I'm cancelling your visa again. Not because of paperwork, but because you might stir up anti-vaccine sentiment." That's real. They deported Djokovic because they thought his presence might be a danger to public health due to his influence. He's not accused of lying, not accused of faking documents, just being Novak. In the middle of a vaccine war, he loses the chance to break the all-time Grand Slam record at the event where he dominates. Memes explode. Headlines flood in from every country. Even people who don't follow tennis knew this story. And the most ironic part, Rafael Nadal wins the 2022 Australian Open and becomes the first man to reach 21 Grand Slam titles, breaking the tie with, you guessed it, Djokovic. By all means, no disrespect or whatsoever to Spain's raging bull. This wasn't just a visa issue. Djokovic became the symbol of all that, whether he wanted to or not. And for a guy who had built his legacy on resilience and comebacks, this was a rare time when even he couldn't control the outcome. Even if you're not a Djokovic fan, it was hard not to feel something for him. Locked up, confused, villainized by half the world, all because of what should have been just another slam. And for tennis fans, it was a grand slam with a giant Novak-shaped hole in it,